everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for August 15th, 2022, a little after 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a time for change call this Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Everything is energy. That's all there is to it. Match that frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. There can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics, Albert Einstein. The universe that we all live in is more intelligent than the mind can comprehend. There are many hidden dimensions to everything and everyone within it. We truly exist in the most fascinating, multidimensional, and infinitely mysterious field of conscious, intelligent energy. This whole thing is a divine harmonic matrix, and it is vibrating with life all around us. It is inside us and is constantly connecting with our every breath, thought, motion, and heartbeat. Just look around you. Everything is constantly exploding in an orgasm of wild, unabandoned creativity. Right now, in this very moment, millions of flowers are blossoming, giving birth to the most amazing sights and scents. Amazing sacred geometric crystals are forming perfect patterns beneath the Earth's crust, while millions of animals, birds, insects, and humans are having intercourse in the most interesting positions. This is just a tiny tip of the iceberg as to all the wild, mysterious, and beautiful things happening on this planet right now. If you observe nature long enough, you'll see everything and anything is always changing, including you, that body you're in. It is said that we cannot step into the same river twice. And by the time we've stepped in it once, everything, including ourselves, is already completely different. This means you cannot have the exact same sequence of thought patterns and feelings that you had last month or last year. Our minds and emotional intelligence is continuously growing, evolving, and changing. We were born highly intelligent beings who were meant to outgrow the small trousers we once wore in the second grade, and truly, we wouldn't really want to try putting them on again. If you take a microscope and look into the DNA inside every cell in your body, you will see that they all contain a sacred imprint that is unique to you. And each quantum particle of your DNA is this wild and uncharted, magnificent, intelligent mystery within it. This mysterious intelligence is embedded within the foundation of your blood, bones, and brain. You cannot escape from it, no matter how hard you try. What's interesting, I find, is that the mind tends to take for granted this sacred mystery every day. The mind has this tendency to create habits, fall into these little comfort zones of thought, safe emotional thought patterns. It finds ideas which label life, placing ourselves and others into tiny compartmentalized little thought boxes so we can feel more secure, self-assured, somewhat organized, standing in the face of this wild, uncharted, infinite mystery that's surrounding us in all directions. The moment we put anything in this divine existence into a thought box, we forget all about enjoying a state of devotion and worship to the divine mystery. The instant we forget about the great mystery of life, we initiate the suffering process. Every experience of this life thereafter becomes a challenge as we live from the head and not from the heart. The mind is a master at continuously getting lost and believing all its inner thought structures are real. When our intellect holds tight onto fixed beliefs, it thinks life will feel more manageable, giving the illusion of control and the sensation that we are becoming wiser. Yet this hard-coded know-it-all mindset demolishes our childlike curiosity and abolishes any form of revenge or reverence for this deeply sacred divine mystery. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. One cannot help but be in awe when he contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity. Albert Einstein. One of the greatest mysteries you may ever discover in this life is the human psyche. Human psyche is the accumulation of other people's thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions that we've adopted and inherited as our own. The human psyche is the accumulation of other people's thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions that we've adopted and inherited as our own. All these beliefs from the entire experience of ourselves, other people, this world, and our entire reality. The way we think, how we think, why we think, this way and not that way, is the core network of our psyche and makes us behave more like predictable machines than alive cosmic organisms. The human psyche, however, has a magical side to it, in that whatever we accept as the truth becomes what we actually manifest physically into our lives. Whatever we accept as the truth becomes what we actually manifest physically into our lives. This may be one of the most awesome mysteries mankind has to explore. Our foundational belief structure is so powerful, pervasive, and penetrating that it always manifests itself in every single possible outcome and experience we have. The universe, this universe, always supports whatever we believe. If deep down we believe we are not a lovable person, the universe will constantly manifest for us the most challenging people, negative situations, and experiences that supports this belief inside. If and when you truly believe you are lovable, the universe will slather your life with sweet, loving beings devoted to caring about you, honoring you, caring for your needs in the most intimate, vulnerable ways. This intelligent universe, universal energy, simply follows thought. Whatever you believe about you is where the energy flows and manifests into the entire show all around you. In this highly technological age, people these days tend to believe science easier than spirit. If you can prove God is real in a lab, then it must be true. What's fascinating about this time frame in our lives is that the quantum physicists of this world have ventured so deep into particles that they have had to merge their scientific understanding within a spiritual context. Their practical Newtonian vocabularies do not have the words to explain the outrageous results they are finding. They are having to use more spiritual words and concepts to bridge the understanding of these hard-coded scientific results. For example, they have taken two quantum particles that were spinning around each other and found a way to separate them by a few kilometers in distance. Later, they spun one of the particles counterclockwise. Notice that instantly the other particle that was kilometers away would also change spinning in this new direction. This study has been done many times with the same results. So they've concluded there exists some form of spiritual intelligence that is communicating between all quantum particles in this universe, no matter what physical distance is between them. This study has been done many, many, many times. So there does exist some form of spiritual intelligence that is communicating between all quantum particles in this universe, no matter what physical distance is between them. Years ago, quantum physicists also proved in their labs that thoughts are actual physical measurable things. Scientists would observe a vacuum space which had no particles in it. And they found that wherever the observers would place their attention, that was the place the particles would show up. Okay? So you place your attention somewhere. You begin to form energy. Take energy and move it into form. They concluded through other more advanced studies that when the mind cultivates the ability to direct thought in one specific direction for an extended period of time, the person can physically attract, magnetize, and soon manifest an actual physical thing into the field of existence. It has been the 21st century for a while now, and the understanding that we are the manifesting magicians of the quantum soup of highly intelligent energy all around us has become an actual science in the quantum physics and the spiritually enlightened communities. In the quantum physics and the spiritual enlightened communities, the relationship between the mystic and the scientist were separated 500 years ago. And now the pendulum is swinging back towards their reunification again. It is our inherent curious nature to want to put labels on things, people, ourselves, and create a universal law of attraction that will solve this great manifesting mystery of life. We think that if we have a more concrete global understanding of life, then we can relax and rest even deeper into our spiritual nature. Perhaps only a foot would believe that we need something external to let go and relax. Only a fool internally. Why would we need to feel inferior to being one with Mother Nature just so as to push away our insecurity and strive towards a need to feel superior? The human psyche, as I have mentioned, is the greatest mystery of them all. All we have to do is to give up identifying with the body, with forms and limits, And then we shall know ourselves as the infinite self that we always are from Amrishi. Maybe when science creates a machine to find the source of consciousness, then mankind will feel like a god. Yet, why take the long road? Why not just look inside your source of consciousness itself and discover real evidence of where consciousness comes from? Realize that what consciousness is made of, why it exists. Relax into the greatest innermost mystery of them all. I had the feeling that in order for our world to solve these deep, outrageous questions in the future, quantum physicists must merge completely with the metaphysical mindset. Meta meaning beyond physical. If modern science is to make any real progress, I'm guessing by now you're more interested in how your life can personally benefit from applying this enlightening path of understanding the great mystery. You want to know how understanding the metaphysical manifesting mystery can make your life easier, more abundant, healthy, loving, happy, and financially free. In order for us to have access to manifesting anything and everything we desire in our lives, we must choose to first start with believing in one basic foundational understanding. And I mean believing through the heart-mind. Whatever we continuously focus our attention on grows, multiplies, and eventually manifests automatically in our lives with the help of this natural, powerful, magnetic manifesting intelligence that's inside of everything. With all this amazing manifesting power already inside us, it's quite ironic that more people aren't not accessing it. Many of us are stuck in jobs we don't like, relationships we lose energy battling with every day, and we are either having some sort of food, drug, alcohol, or sex addiction that is taking priority over any real deep spiritual devotion and exploration. The basic reason for all human suffering here is simple. The mind keeps focusing on what we don't want and thus keeps manifesting more of the same. New thoughts rarely have space to form, and after 70 to 80 years, the human being has wasted all its precious energy on magnetizing on what it doesn't want and doesn't have. The only reason we are not always manifesting everything that we want is because we cannot keep our mind focused long enough on feeling that they are receiving that one thing they truly desire to have. It's that simple. Once we refrain the brain to stay focused, fiercely, deeply, and resolutely focused, we will become the manifesting masters of our world. When we practice meditation, we will one day attain mastery over our minds and actually reach a state of physical mastery over our physical world. Right now, the master is fast asleep, and the mind, the servant, is playing the role of master. And the servant is created by the outside world. It follows the outside world and its laws. Once your awareness becomes a flame, it burns up the whole slavery that the mind has created. There is no blissfulness more precious than freedom, than being a master of your own destiny, Osho. When it comes down to life and mind mastery within the great mystery, it is all about discovering the source of pure awareness inside. This is that simple, obvious awareness that is always watching, listening, and experiencing everything in your life all the time. It is the light behind the movie screen of your mind, responsible for projecting the entire picture onto everything that you feel, sense, and see. It is responsible for shining the light on every single thought and feeling that you have about anything. It's always the source of what your experience is in every moment of your existence. We don't give awareness enough credit. We rarely recognize that it's there and hardly ever take the time to sit down with it and relax into the source of it. The reason we take awareness for granted is because it is ever present, always here now, just like the air you're breathing. Yet think about it. What if awareness wasn't present anymore? What would happen to our lives? Who would we be? Where would we be without awareness? Who would exist if there was nobody to be aware of our existence anymore? And sure, these are some deep thoughts to contemplate. Yet when we do take the time to explore them, something magical happens. We start becoming more in touch with this divine state of awareness. Whatever we focus on is what we experience more of, and eventually manifests into physical action and form. Whatever we meditate on results in who we are going to become tonight and tomorrow morning. As we become more aware of the infinite spiritual source of awareness inside, we become more connected with what's totally in charge of what we're magnetizing. We can see each thought fly by and see exactly how each one is attracting, creating, designing, how our entire lives unfold and manifest. It is only when we become conscious of this perfect divine play manifesting inside us and all around us that we stop fighting ourselves, each other, and beating our heads against our inner emotional prison walls. When we stop pushing up against life and start appreciating that everything is an aspect of the great sacred mystery, we start resonating at a higher level of consciousness. We begin feeling more expansive when we wake up in the morning and greet the day with a childlike curiosity, creativity, and wonder. We do this because at the source of pure awareness, it's easy to realize there truly are no actual prisons in this infinite quantum field of intelligent energy. Prisons are only limiting aspects of our highly creative imaginations. If you name me, you negate me. Edgar. You may find that on a karmic level, every person has a unique inner emotional prison. And this is part of their unique soul's destiny. Every human came here to release the lie their soul was fed. They came to re-experience the feelings of being confused, rejected, abandoned, hated, suppressed, depressed, and stuck in order to transcend them all. We needed to step harder on the thorn hiding in our shoes in order to stop hiking up this great mountain and remove it with love. At some point, every day, we each run into some feeling of being stuck, blocked, or challenged by something or someone. We feel limited, small, powerless, or suppressed from our full expression. Every human mind already has the program installed to throw itself into some emotional dumpster repeatedly. There are many little thorns hiding in our shoes that we are unaware of. Thus, something terrible happens in the outer world. We get dumped by a lover. We end up trashing our self-esteem, our love for life, our feeling of being empowered, and falling into some treacherous feeling of being locked up in an emotional prison we cannot escape from. All of this thorny karma we carry may sound terribly depressing. Yet it's good to remember that this universe is more loving, mysterious, and intelligent than we could ever imagine. There is a very beautiful yet unobvious reason why this divinely intelligent, deeply eternal, loving universe has set life up to throw each and every one of us through experiences of emotional pain, agony, and suffering. What's the reason? The reason is so that we stop everything we are doing and become deeply inspired to evolve in a spiritual dimension. The spiritual path is the only way we can remove all our thorns and break out of our thick mental and emotional prisons. The only problem is that the mind tends to get lazy, wrapped up in old habit, and would never search for the keys to our spiritual freedom unless we felt deeply trapped, imprisoned, or stuck. The mind loves to create these emotional prison cells in the brain, as each one provides new fuel to blast off into a new experience of creativity, growth, evolution, movement, and eventually reach total liberation. So we all have these wonderfully perfect, prickly prisons constructed inside of us. Each one is destined to create a deep yearning and desire to be free. Now, you can reject this idea, ignore it, or accept it. Just notice what happens inside your body. Either way, this search for freedom is as much our destiny as the prisons we've placed ourselves in. There are no real enemies in this world. There are only imaginary shadows. The thorns in our shoes can be removed once we realize that they are also created by our own imaginations. We must choose to move beyond the mind, through the unconscious righteous mind that believes it is aware, yet it is truly ignorant and not worshiping the great mystery 24 hours a day. It is this ignorance that is our only real enemy. The mind that is deeply stuck in thought, in ego, and will only strive to create something new when some form of horrific pain, fear, or slavery begins bubbling up inside. And yes, the mind is imagining everything that you're experiencing right now. It is believing that your thoughts, beliefs, and all your limitations are real. It is entertaining the feeling that being financially stuck is real, or that your relationships are never going to improve, or you'll always live in the same house forever. It has this idea that whatever challenging life experience you're having right now just may be that way forever. The sensations of emotional imprisonment sure do feel real. Yet when we step back from them, we see they are just a conglomeration of negative thoughts. When we step back from the mind with awareness, we can understand that we are the ones who have thrown ourselves into jail with our imagination. From this awareness, then we can step out of jail just with using our sweet, simple, yet all-powerful imagination. One who knows the self has nothing more to do, nor has he any more thoughts from then on. The infinite power will carry out all further actions that may be necessary for him. Ron Maurice. To acquire an out-of-jail pass, we must gift it to ourselves. We must choose to accept that everything and everyone in this life is a part of this deep, sweet, holographic, infinite mystery. In this acceptance, we stop feeling limited. We see how our imagination is co-creating everything, designing this entire thing we deem as a reality. Then and only then can we understand what it takes to be free. By knowing what is creating thought, we stop believing in all of its fantasy. We realize that any potential feeling of slavery is a choice from here on out. We understand that we always have the free will and choice in how we wish to interact and engage with any thought that enters the mind, and can keep it like a winning lottery ticket or toss it away like a used banana peel. So my invitation right now for you is to not hold on to any beliefs that show up about yourself, others, and this life. Choose the mystery over certainty, just because it is more exciting. It's simply more interesting to not know than to know. When you're living within the mystery 24 hours a day, you suddenly find yourself becoming spontaneous, free from hesitation, doubt, and barely have any fear. It requires all the courage you have to keep choosing the mystery over the normal way of being human. Yet, you're much more likely to experience your fears as some weird bubbling state of excitement than something you run from. You might even see your life as this passionate birthing of random desires to engage and disengage from. Ultimately, it is a mystery how long or short your life is going to last. So why not start embracing it now? When we embrace the mystery as a way of living this life, the mysterious way keeps us truly alive. We start abiding in a state of wonder and deep curiosity about everything. We stop defining who we are and start realizing that truly we are actually indefinable. We start seeing amazing, intelligent energy is here now, directly in front of our eyes. Ecstasy is our very nature. Not to be ecstatic is simply unnecessary. To be ecstatic is natural, spontaneous. Needs no effort to be ecstatic. It needs great effort to be miserable. That's why you look so tired, because misery is really hard work. To maintain it is really difficult because you are doing something against nature. Also. Question you might want to ask yourself. How often do you adventure out of your crazy nest of habitual life into that place where you don't know what could happen next? You may have noticed that your ego is a master at creating habits. It craves to create the perfect comfort zone so it can feel the security, sameness, receive an impenetrable force field of safety. This comfort zone is different for everyone. For an adrenaline seeker, it may be the need to parachute out of a plane at 10,000 feet every weekend. While for the retired executive, it may be sitting by the pool in paradise every day, sipping a cold pina colada. Whoever you are, you have some form of comfort zone established that is there for you to grow out of and expand through. The truth is that the ego has no real power of control and cannot create 100% safety in our lives. Life is inherently insecure. Only death is a sure thing. The mind can only fixate on the false notion of safety and hope that this will come true. True safety only comes from being in touch with your eternal self, that infinite part of you that will never die. What could be safer than that? Everything in this world changes. The flux of matter is what makes life so exciting, spontaneous, and dynamic here. Our bodies are not the same bodies that we automatically had 1 year ago. And 10,000 years from now, you may not recognize or understand half of what you see. As long as the ego is in charge and thinks it's running the show, it will be holding you tightly to the lie of safety by sticking like super glue to its comfort zone. There is nothing wrong with being comfortable. In fact, it can become a precursor to a deep spiritual, mystical life experience. Yet, the ego will often coax us to stay in an old rut or pattern just to keep its distance from the fear of the unknown. It believes that it's better to stay with what it has known for years, even if it feels like you are shriveling up in some lukewarm bath where there is no heat, excitement, or pizzazz. This could be a relationship, job, salary, overweight body, lack of vacation, or just a convenient, repetitive daily routine. The ego would rather be comfortable in a velvet rut for 70-plus years than take a risk to step into true aliveness. One area where many of us may have to hide out in this velvet rut is in the arena of living abundantly. Due to past emotional programming, we all may not be comfortable with actually experiencing what it is like to be truly abundant and financially free. We may unconsciously be choosing to propagate a scarcity mentality just because this is what feels the safest to our egos. It may be terrifying to accept massive abundance, since that would mean you would have to stop playing small. Just imagine what would happen if you decided to expand your financial frequency and stop playing it safe. To stretch out your comfortable money zone may seem undesirable. Yet it is a powerful way of redefining who you are in the world you are living in. When you continue sending out the same old vibration by remaining in the same old zone, you tend to reap the same old levels of success and abundance. When you venture out beyond your comfort zone, you discover that there are many exciting opportunities and experiences that you were previously unaware of. This is what the vast unknown that makes up this universe truly contains. There is much more of what we don't know in our outer space and inner space than what we do know. And sure, the ego is terrified of these infinite probabilities, yet you can only access a truly alive and abundant life by doing the thing you are most scared to do. True growth only really happens when we consciously choose to take the big risk to move beyond our comfort zone. Just like in yoga, while the stretching may feel uncomfortable at first, there is a pleasure that comes from extending your limbs, breathing, relaxing into a new position. This is the point where a new consciousness can be found. The more often you do yoga, the more limber your whole being, mind and body becomes, and the easier it is for you to move into new realms of thinking. If you do the same thing with abundance in your life, you will naturally attract a greater level of abundance than you could have dreamed possible. You may discover more about your hidden abundance comfort zones by answering the following questions. How comfortable would you feel if someone gifted you a very large sum of money? You ever done that? You ever said that you're with somebody and said, I want to give you this, and they just put up the biggest fight in the world? No, here, take it. No. How easy is it for you to ask someone to support you in creating abundance by using one of your business ideas? Right? A lot of people are afraid to do that. In fact, the majority are. They fear they're going to be rejected. How would you feel if you were to, all of a sudden, receive an abundance of attention, love, support, and admiration? How would you feel about that? All of a sudden, receive an abundance of attention, love, support, and admiration. People are uncomfortable with that. They don't know what to do with it. How quickly do you embrace new opportunities that could lead to more abundance in your life? Opportunities just fly by, most of it. Okay? They fly by. No, I don't do that. Hey, Jim, you should do it. No, I'm fine right here. Take a moment right now to examine where you feel trapped, stuck, imprisoned in your life. What are those all too familiar, comfortable ways of being, doing, talking, thinking, and feeling that you tend to repeat every day? Where do you feel that you are most holding yourself back? Write down your top 3 life situations where you feel the most trapped. This very well could be your lucky week to become outrageously courageous. Step out of one or all of your inner prisons. We have found that the easiest way of breaking out of your comfort zone is with baby steps. You don't have to move to the edge of a 1,000-meter cliff to step out of your comfort zone. You can slowly stretch out of any old habit, just like you were attempting a new yoga posture. Next to each of your top 3 situations, Write down what your personal baby step would be to move out of that old pattern. Make the effort to take that baby step every day this week. Every day you will be absolutely amazed at how much more of life you'll experience, manifest, and enjoy when you do whatever it takes to stretch into the beyond. Sometime this week, take an hour to write down a very extensive, long list of everything you know you need to do that will stretch you this year. What would really challenge you to step out of your box and create the experience of absolute freedom in your life? In your first understanding, you take one small step beyond your cozy little nest. So what's it going to take for you to take a giant leap into the total unknown? Perhaps it's as simple as eating a salad for breakfast, going on a road trip across the country alone, couch surfing, asking someone you don't like for help, giving someone you just met a hug, going to a party alone where you may not know anyone, or saying yes to a huge new opportunity that comes your way. This universe contains infinite possibilities already. Believe it or not, whatever you can imagine happening to you is truly what life has in store for you. Whatever you do, have tons of fun and laughter this week, breaking out of your comfort zone and exploring the juicy world inside you and around you. This may very well be your week to truly be alive. All the journeying that we've done outside of ourselves, thousands of lifetimes, okay? We've journeyed outside of ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that because probably we've done everything you could possibly imagine and then some, most likely, in all those lifetimes. Covered pain, suffering, disappointment, for the most part, every single lifetime. But see, you can understand through your heart-mind energetic vibration. This is old. It's old, this path of external, physical, material world. It's old. You can feel it that it's old. This is what we do. We come into these bodies, right? We don't have memory. We've been zapped. And we start over. Now, we do have times, right, where, and I talk with people like this all the time, I look at their creativity, their talents. They've had no formal training. Yet, they're way beyond formally trained people. And you ask them, how did you learn this? And they say, I just know how to do it. So in that vernacular, it does help us sometimes in some areas. We don't have total recall because we've been zapped. So, doesn't it make sense that all this is occurring, even in this very moment? Everything's pointing to what? You. Not out there. You. All of us in our comfort zones. Okay? Life in, life out. Lifetime after lifetime. We form these comfort, we're in the box. How many people you met will not leave that box? no matter what. Okay? And you might say to them, hey, come on. Let's you probably have experienced this, right? Let's go do this. Now the one who you're asking is in the comfort zone, looks at that and says, for a moment, right, in their heart mind, wow, that sounds really fun. But then ego mind, right, the comfort zone, and you've no, I'll pass. Are you kidding? You sure? Yeah. All right. So we and we've all done it. None of us are exempt from it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just that acknowledging, right? You say to yourself, man, I've been in this comfort zone a long time. You know when you're in the comfort zone, when you do the same thing every day, day in and day out, week after week, month after month, year after year. Pretty much, you do the same thing. You know, most of the time you get up at the same time, right? Your movements are pretty much the same. Everything in your regimen that you've got in order and that you're comfortable with, and you go about everything, whatever it is, every single day, unless something comes in and upsets that whole thing. Where you got to get up a lot earlier, and you got to go here, and you got to do this, and it's a whole different ball game, and it's not comfortable. It is. It's not comfortable, because that throws you out of your comfort zone. That's why we suggest that every day, and it doesn't have to be huge, do something different in your regimen. It could be just small, and get in the habit of doing that. Different. You might get up a half an hour earlier or a half an hour later, right? You may not have a breakfast that you normally have. Like we recommended, why don't you have a salad for breakfast? To see, mixing things up is imperative. This allows us to move ourselves slowly, little step by step, out of our comfort zones. Why do you think that the majority of us in this country, not on this planet, aren't changing things? Right? Why do you think that this country became so complacent, the people in it, on year after year after year of what the government was doing? Our comfort zones, our habit. And the ego mind, remember, masters us, right? And it masters us in yesterday or tomorrow. It never masters us in the now, because it isn't there in the now. It doesn't exist. So what do you think it's going to do? It can do everything it can to keep you in its comfort zone, which is yesterday and tomorrow, past and future. That's why focusing on the breath, easy and slowly in through the nose, easy and slowly out through the mouth, you're in the now. And no matter what your ego mind says to you, like, the now, come on, we do fine in yesterday and tomorrow. But you use your breath every single time you're pulled out of the now. And after a while of practice, you will find that most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, you're in the now. And the now is when it's the only way you're going to master the ego. And the mind is in the now, because you watch them on how they operate. You watch the thoughts, okay? And you know they're just thoughts. You haven't given them any power yet. You let them just pass by. You say, that's an ego thought. I'm not interested in entertaining it. Or this is an ego feeling. I'm not interested in entertaining it. So you won't. Can you see how you shift? See, you're determining the course of your ship. See? You're the captain and commander. You're determining where that ship's going to go, right? And sometimes you let go of the wheel and let it go wherever it chooses to go. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out.
Take a easy, slow breath in through the nose, and an easy, slow breath out of the mouth. Stay still. This moment contains the very experience we have been searching for our entire lives. So what are we waiting for? Do not hold back today, no matter what. Go for it. Let go of hesitation, procrastination, and step outside your comfort zone. And you have just opened up your vibration to receiving unlimited possibilities. Take this with you for the rest of the day and the evening, night, and the following morning. We will return here Tuesday, August 16th, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation